Just one day after the Toronto Police Services Board passed a historic policy that would see the city's police officers collecting race-based data, the Ontario Human Rights Commission introduces yet another groundbreaking policy. This one measures to eliminate racial profiling in law enforcement, and not only here in Toronto, but across the GTA and in Ontario.
It's a complicated system, but I'm well aware that every journey begins with the first step.
The first steps taken today coming in the form of a 92-page booklet that outlines recommendations put forward by the Ontario Human Rights Commission on how police forces across the province can eliminate a discriminatory practice that has prevailed for decades.
Racial profiling is harmful, illegal, and ineffective.
The report, called Under Suspicion, also applies to private security guards and addresses both individual and systemic racial profiling in various contexts: shopping, school, using public transit. Indigenous and racialized communities make up 30% of the province's population. Yet study after study shows these communities are oftentimes targets of racial profiling.
Racial profiling is a daily reality for Black people in Ontario. Whether driving, shopping, or simply walking down the street, Black Ontarians face unjustified, invasive, and discriminatory behavior, scrutiny, and treatment.
As a young person, I went to a conference, right, in Edmonton, Alberta, and we had this same bloody discussion on racial profiling and police interaction. And so here we are.
The head of the commission says this is the first report of its kind in Canada, centered around 7 principles that would prevent and address racial profiling, steps they want police forces and boards throughout the province to implement themselves, including data collection and analysis, as well as forming anti-racist action plans. They also want police boards to develop a policy on racial profiling.
To develop an early intervention system that alerts supervisors to potential problems, and to take appropriate remedial action when an officer's behavior raises concerns. It starts with police chiefs and police boards.
The policy was presented to the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, an umbrella organization that represents around 50 police services in the province. Today, they say they are committed to implementing the recommendations.
We have not effectively dealt with the issue of racial profiling in society in this country, let alone in law enforcement. So by developing the principles, this is a new approach to the problem, and we're embracing that.
Down the line, what's your hope with this policy?
Well, I mean, perfection is a human impossibility, right? But I really would hope that we build that trust. We heard somebody talking about it today, where young kids see the uniform of a police officer and see that as a friend.
There's no word yet on how each of the police forces will be implementing these recommendations, but the Ontario Human Rights Commission says that they will be checking in on their progress. And there are also calls tonight on the provincial government to introduce racial profiling legislation.